Now walk it out. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we're back here on another special Couch Coach live here. We're continuing our NFL preview. This is our 7th division that we have that we're going to preview tonight. So we're going to do the AFC East. So, of course, I had to bring in one of the AFC East aficionados, my guy, Jeff, from the Jeff Needs Sports Podcast, VP of the Out the Ball Network. What's going on, Father?
Nothing, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be on the show with you guys. I'm glad to actually have possibly a viable team in the AFC this year. So this is the first really, I should say, I have high expectations NFL season in quite some time.
Yeah, man. Fins up. So, yeah. And once again, what's going on, Maui?
Oh, man, I'm here.
Yeah, man.
And with the Pod Father and with you, I'm happy, man. I'm happy, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We got a great show lined up for you today. Normally we do 2 divisions, but like we said, you can't put the NFC and the AFC East together. It's just, it's 2 different animals. Like
2 good divisions. 2 really
good divisions.
Very, very competitive divisions.
2 good divisions today. Tonight, we just want to have a civil show. Next week, if you want the pomp, circumstance, drama, bring your popcorn, your favorite beverage, wine, whatever. Because next week can get potentially ugly. And we all know how the NFC East rolls. So tonight,
yes,
this is the calm before the storm. And of course, I had to bring out September. The line hasn't come out in September. So I had to kind of save the NFC East for next week. So it's gonna be I know I'm teasing it, but I think it's gonna live up to its expectation, this lofty expectation. But yeah, so for tonight we'll talk about the AFC East. Yeah. So here, definitely huge shout out to Mo chiming in, and also Steven as well. Yeah, and also that's another one. When we talk about NFC East, yeah, I mean, that's what happens,
I said before, y'all NFC East fans, y'all are different. That's all I'm going to say. Just you bringing it up is probably going to derail your show for 35 minutes.
But no, I'm going to try to stay on course. I was going to bring up a story, but like you said, I don't want to kind of, like you said, veer it into an NFC East fest. But you know how it is, and even when we did See You Sunday, I mean, that too, and then also when we did Overreaction Monday, it really bleeded NFC East, like.
Oh, yeah. Because you guys had the worst division in football last year.
Thank you. Say the last part again. Say it one more time. Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying we've never seen anything quite like that. Anyway, this is what I told you. This is what happens. You start bringing it up. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about a really good division.
Yeah, well, one of the most improved divisions in a weird way. The changing of the guard, which is so weird. When we talk about the AFC East, finally, you think about it, you just look at how long the run with the Patriots have been. It's to a point where at the beginning of this run, I mean, we were all, a lot has changed since we're looking at the Patriots from this standpoint at this point as the season progressed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around the horn, fellas. What is the biggest storyline in the AFC East? I'm going to go with you, Maui. What you got?
Is the Bills what we really believe? Are they the true kings of the division? Is Josh Allen going to be the what word can I use? Is he going to be that man of that division, of that quarterback of that division? Is he going to be that line, just like Brady was, just like Ben was at one time, just like it's because that's what I see. The next category we talk about, the question is going to be dealing with that. So and they should, you know what I mean? Because I don't think they lost anything. I think they added to what they think they may need. I mean, you can easily, if they do well this year, we might be comparing them to the Chiefs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Is Josh Allen going to elevate to where Mahomes is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he can run, and he proved last year he could throw, especially having a a receiver like Diggs. So I think that's are they real?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because I've said it a few times on a couple shows this year. If Josh Allen takes any kind of step forward, which is totally possible, he's fourth year, or you know what I mean. That's a big year for a quarterback. That's why these contracts are set up this way. If he takes even a baby step forward, he's the best quarterback in the league. If he does, I'm just saying, the way he's going. I think his percentage, like his completion percentage, just went up over 10%. His first few years, like I don't know if we've ever seen a player make the strides he did from year 2 to year 3. I'm excited to see what he can do this year. He's got everything you need. I know that.
Yep, absolutely. So Jeff, what's your biggest storyline in this division?
So since we say storyline, like I don't personally care about this, but I think the biggest storyline is going to be, especially since what we've learned in the last probably 48 hours, is this whole Cam Newton, Mac Jones, who's going to be the quarterback in New England, and what's that offense going to look like, and all these things. I think that storyline is just going to keep carrying on. They're like Cam just does this. Like we all saw, like you guys probably saw the first couple of preseason games. You're like, okay, Cam's back. He's come back from last year. He's healthier and all this. And then you have these weird tests, non-test, wrong test. He's not at practice. Mac Jones looks great. They had him wearing number 50 for a while. Just these odd things out of the Patriots. And then now all of a sudden then you get Belichick today, when they ask him about it, he in typical Belichick fashion, he's like, if a player's not here, the other player has an advantage, and leaves it at that. So he just all these question marks and dots for the New England Patriots quarterback position. They spent a lot of money on players that not everybody cares about, if that makes any sense. Like you guys are NFL fans. Like when they were spending the money, it didn't blow my doors off, but they talk about how good the defense can be. I know the defensive scheme will be good. I know they'll play good. I don't necessarily know that the talent's there like they think it was. Like, it's just one of these odd storylines. So I think the biggest storyline is going to be New England all year long, just like it is sometimes, like we talk about with the Cowboys. It's just going to matter what they do for the next. It's going to matter what New England does for the next 10 years, whether it's good or bad. So I think the biggest storyline is the New England quarterback situation.
Yeah, and then now you're looking at, and then adding a layer to it with the success of Tom Brady, and then he'll be coming to town in October. So it's nothing where, we're looking at the Bucs as potentially back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and Bill Belichick might be staring at another, below 500 season. So there's a lot of intrigue in that, what's going on, like you said. And Mac Jones, he has at this point, they see good in him. So yeah, I definitely look at that as a good storyline as well. But actually, my storyline is down south. With even though I'm not here to hype up our guests, but like I kind of did low key with that, but it was actually genuine, because actually that the Jaguar point was really spot on in our AFC East preview. So AFC preview. So I was like, you know what? You made up some compelling. You beat the drum for the Jacksonville Jaguars last week, so I kind of had to like, you know what? Jeff had a point with that, but also with this one, I think Tua's first full year in the system, so it's going to be really interesting. Now we're looking at, as we talked about earlier, about the change of the guard in the AFC East, where we look at Buffalo leading the pack, and then we think in Miami can potentially close that gap as well. A lot of people I've seen them being like third in the East, and I'm like, I don't think so necessarily. I'm really intrigued of what they've done so far. Obviously, now Tua doesn't really have to have that Ryan Fitzpatrick, shadow behind him, because if he fails, he doesn't really have to worry about necessarily somebody kind of, in his shadow. So this is a good situation. Good young wide receiver core with Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and then Jalen Waddle. I like that. Then the defense, I think even though you had a situation with Xavier Howard, but I still think about bringing in on the McCourty twin. Which one was it? It was which one was it? I forgot which McCourty twin it was.
Jason.
Jason. Yeah, it was Jason. Yeah. Keep on. I don't know why I get them too confused, but
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, maybe because they're twins.
I don't know how you get identical twins mixed up like that.
Right. I mean, who's to say? But yeah, I like what this team is doing so far, like as far as in the off season and what they have. So I think the biggest question mark is can the Miami Dolphins actually become a playoff team? We've kind of last year they were so tantalizingly close from making the playoffs. So this is the season where the expectations for the Miami Dolphins and a quick turnaround too, where we look at 2 years ago, it was doom and gloom. I mean, now, we thought the Larry Tunstall trade was like, oh gosh, like, now it's like, now that return of investment is really paying dividends for this team. So, it was doom and gloom. I'm like, oh, you get rid of him, Kenny Stills, all in like within a short time period. And, this could be the worst team in the NFL. It did end up being 5-11. And then it just, it's going forward. But yeah, the rebuild of this Miami Dolphins team has really has been expedited. And I think they're going to be one of those teams that you're going to look at that's going to compete with Buffalo for the top of the AFC East.
Yeah, and I think that they got the right coach. I think that coach has built a team that you can replace. I think that the biggest overlooked thing about Miami is that Brissett's the backup. Like I feel totally comfortable if for whatever reason Brissett has to come in, that he can run this offense. They did not make it complicated. It's a quick hit offense with a lot of talent. It's a yards after catch offense. You know what I mean? That's why they bring in Waddle. Parker does his thing. Gaskins, all those guys. So I feel the best about their backup quarterback situation. It's he's right from the Belichick tree. It's next man up. It's it's all about the depth chart and things like that. So I don't feel that they're an injury away from 1-16. I feel like they got a complete team for the first time in quite a few years.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, Miami Dolphins, and it's funny because it's weird because I remember I want to say maybe about 5-6 years ago, and I was like, the Miami Dolphins is like probably one of the best teams in the NFL on paper.
Right.
Yeah. And people looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, yeah, because at that time they had a talent. Like Miami's always been that, because that was the year they made the playoffs and lost to Pittsburgh, I think, in the wild card. And I remember saying that, and I was like, and I said that before the season, and that's before really no one really kind of took them serious, and because that was a Matt Moore year, wasn't it? Was it the Matt Moore? Yeah.
Yes. They went through. They went through quite a few that year, but Matt Moore was a quarterback. He was
a quarterback on that team. But man,
I felt like I think it was 19. I think it was 2019 when I forgot. I don't know. I can't remember your coach's name. The Dolphins coach's name, but it was a bad call. It was a really, really bad call, and I was sitting with my father, and my father was like, why won't the ref give him respect to go over there and discuss the bad call? And he wouldn't do it. So he just kept pushing. And I think when a coach put their heart out there and they see the passion, I think that it's football, man. Football, you could have a worst talented team, but if they work together, especially through passion, man, they could dominate anybody, especially in one game, even a half. You know what I mean? If they could hold a team that's more talented to close, I would hate to want to play a passionate team in the second half,
Let's remember a couple years ago, they ruined what everybody assumes they ruined New England's season when they come back and they won that game at the last second, cost New England, a bye and a home field game. New England gets trounced by the Titans, and Tom Brady's in Tampa the next year. A lot of people think that was a turning point.
And like, what's your buddy's name? That's a Dolphin fan, Chris.
Oh, Rome. Rome.
Yeah, Rome we were speaking about that, and he was on the show, and I said I felt like that was the true turning point for the Dolphins, that they were going. They realized they got their coach, and it's time to go to the next level. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah, big time. Yep. So, fellas, let's go to now the biggest question, in your personal opinion, in the AFC East. I'm gonna go with you first, Jeff. What you got?
So you guys touched on it a little bit already, but I think the biggest question that I have because it's such a weird division. We talked about how good it is, and yet we've only got one established quarterback, and he's in his 4th year. So will Tua, will Zach Wilson, will Mac Jones, are they for real? Are they the future, of the division? Because everybody's projecting like, man, this division in 3 years is the best in football, but we all know that quarterbacks just don't work out that way. So I think the biggest question mark is just, are these young, like you already said it with Tua, like is he for real? Because if not, then you take a step back. Zach Wilson, they're going to let him go. They're going to let him lose, but they're going to let him throw. His stats are probably going to be off the charts both ways. Right. Might have a Jameis Winston 30 for 30 season, but they're going to let him, learn under fire. And then Jones, there's no doubt that he's going to play at some point this year. The writing's just on the wall. For whatever reason, whether it's, I just have no idea. So anyway, I think just the biggest question mark is this the division of the future, or that all these teams make a mistake?
Oh yeah, I think division. This is the division of the future, especially one of the quarterbacks. This is a good set of quarterbacks. These are good quarterbacks going forward. Like, you talk about Tua. We talk about I think Zach Wilson is, and I'll kind of tease that a little later, what he's going to be doing, and then also Mac Jones. And then Josh Allen is leading the pack at this point. And and that's why I think it was imperative for, like the Jets to get a quarterback at this point, especially, and then also the Patriots. I think the Patriots also, knew one of those things where it's like, well, maybe if we can build around him and have a young quarterback on the center, we can have success. So I think everybody kind of knew, like, look, if we want to match up point for point in the Buffalo Bills, we need to get a quarterback.
Exactly. Well, I would throw this out there real quick. Here's just a thought that I have. It's possible that in 3 years, Tua is the worst quarterback in this division, and he might be all right, but he could still be the worst quarterback in this division in 3 years, which is just if it works out. It's crazy,
right?
It's like we all on the same page. My question was. To piggyback on the storyline, I was like, what quarterback is going to be the most dominant? You know what I mean? Like, easy. What if Tua go in there and he just said, no, I got complete control. I ain't got to worry about nobody having my back. And he just dominates. Yep. You know what I mean? What if, I'm sure Wilson not, but you just never know. Like, when you have a young team playing, you just never know, man. They got a whole, when I was watching something today and I got some information, they would just, the Jets fan was just like, man, everybody understands and they all working together. You know what I mean? And then, like, me personally, and Chris may not agree. It was a few months ago that young man was talking trash to Cam, and everybody was like, the young man should have been quiet. This is exactly what I'm talking about. He's not talking to Terrell or Ray Lewis or somebody that way. It's because it was Cam Newton, the dude who dressed weird, the dude who acts, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got to win to be that way, or be scary as hell like Russell Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? You can't just be doing that type of stuff and think that somebody is really supposed to respect you. Yeah, don't get me wrong, he really is. But we look at him and say, man, you working out in these videos, and we really pulling for you to be dominant. The game need for him to be dominant.
Yes.
Yeah.
The game is so exciting when he's dominant. It makes people who really don't watch want to watch because he's got that it factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we sitting here like, man, this is going to be a dud. Like, you know what I mean? Like he going to go in there and, like, wouldn't you say deep down that you would look at Cam and think he's probably the best quarterback in that division?
Ooh.
He said, do I?
Yeah, like, look, if he go out there, like, to me, and sometimes I don't feel like he plays the way – I don't feel like he plays to his standards to me. I think if he goes in there, he don't seem like he's focused. He seems like he don't care sometimes. If he go out there and seem like he wants to really play, I'm sorry, he don't seem like he really wants to play.
Well, that's what I keep saying about him. I'm glad you brought it up because I for years, and I said to me and my wife were talking about this earlier. I said that strip sack in the Super Bowl. I don't know if one play's ever changed a player's career more than that. Like, Cam Newton has not looked the same, acted the same. Whatever that Super Bowl did to him, and I always preface it by saying this: I don't mind if Cam Newton doesn't live and die football. Like, I'm not that guy.
Right.
Like, it's his job.
Right.
He can go out and half-ass his job just like the rest of us, is what I'm saying.
Right.
But if I'm going to critique it, man, I'm telling you, I go back and watch his tape through the year, and when the defenses start mixing it up, he just doesn't. It literally looks like he's like, I'm just going to run the play, whatever. He had one of the worst quarterback seasons of the year last year. It was truly awful. But like you said, he's got that talent and the talent around him that, like, when he wants to, he can make a few plays. But it was really bad. Like, Cam Newton played really bad last season.
So it goes back to what that young man was saying. You a free agent. Really, he's saying, boy, you know who you are? You Cam Newton, you should be a dog. But you a free agent. But you a free agent. I'm rich though. But you a free agent. You shouldn't be a free agent. You're in shape.
But this and it goes back to that kid. We're gonna come back to that same argument. No, he still was signed.
Not about the kid.
No, it is about the kid, because that's disrespectful. I don't care what you are. It's
not about the kid. It's just saying somebody has to say something to him. Like, man, it looks like he don't have no motivation. Yeah, he can work out in the gym, but it just seemed like when he on the sideline,
It does. I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. The last time he played a season where he was healthy, he was playing at an MVP like level, even though that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Saying.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
Right. But we still got to remember, the guy came in fact, he hampered by injuries. And then we got to really keep it real. Did COVID really affect him? Because after he didn't have any wide receivers. Who was his
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
He had no receivers, but now I think now that's the thing.
Man, let's do this.
But to me, he didn't have any wide receivers last year. Like who were the wide receivers? What was it? I forget. The dude had like 3 names. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, you get that. But then now you look at potentially having Nelson Aguilar, potentially, even though he dropped a lot in Philly, but he was all right in Las Vegas last year. I think he played for Las Vegas last year. And then also Kendrick Bourne, who I think is going to be okay.
Right.
Yeah. So I think he can get to that level, and that's the thing where.
I'm with that. You saying everything that they're happy you took over, because you did exactly what I wanted. My question is, which quarterback is going to dominate this division? And if he go out there and what you saying, he's healthy, right? He's got some help, then the Pats should win the division.
But they should. But
they should.
Everybody done caught up with them division wise, especially the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
I think the Buffalo Bills, they're on top of it because of just they have more talent around. They're going to be. I think the Patriots are going to be, going to be an interesting team, and then so they have a shot. Like, and then they really weren't that bad last year. They were 7-9. So even though in a New England Patriots, that's like, oh my God, we're 0-16, but from a football sense to being practical. 7-9 isn't bad dealing with what they, because even with Tom Brady, they barely made the playoffs. They were like 11. Well, they barely made it, but they were like 11-5-ish, whatever. But you think about it, you only lost really, 4 games essentially. When in theory you think about it.
Yeah, they actually weren't very good. Tom Brady's last year, their schedule was very favorable, and it worked out. And then they got the wins. There's nothing wrong with them. They shouldn't apologize. But to get into the football part of it here, just when they get into regular season, the pre-snap stuff, like they start calling, we call Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a pre-snap quarterback. Yeah. Like he's not athletically gifted or whatever. He does everything at the line of scrimmage. He knows who he's going to throw to. They know who's getting the ball, everything before the snap. And Cam Newton hasn't been doing any of that. So, I've been preaching this all offseason about this offensive line thing. Every time a quarterback is getting hit and banged up and everything, it's always like there's always a blame. But I'm like, well, maybe Cam's not recognizing, that the Will's blitzing, and he's not recognizing the coverage, and maybe he's standing there 3.5 seconds waiting for a route to open up but maybe Tom Brady knows. Like if you watch Tom Brady, like that ball's out in 2 seconds because
Right.
he ain't about to get hit in the rib cage. And Cam takes these hits, and he's so athletic, and he is such a great runner that he's like,
Right.
I don't blame him for going to get 15 yards, but then he gets hit. But then the next year we're like, well, Cam's not healthy. But like, you also got to keep yourself healthy. I say that a lot about NBA players. Like they're injured through the season. Like, well, what they do in the offseason? Like, do we know that they're doing? I say it about Aaron Rodgers all the time. I question his offseason. That dude ages 2 years every offseason. I'm just saying, if you watch, like, I question what these guys like. They tell us they're dedicated. They tell us they want to win. Like, I'm sure you do on game day. But what are you doing the 4 days before that? And I just have questions about Cam. And I'm not saying that Mac Jones is. I mean, that dude is not exactly that dude don't look like
I just feel like if Cam is going there and he playing like I think he could play, even if he 80%, 85, then the Patriots should be all right. Their defense is decent.
Absolutely.
They always draft well. He got weapons. That's all. That's what my question is. What quarterback is going to truly dominate in this division?
I still think that Josh Allen has reached a point.
Yeah, beast.
I think you know what? I think he's reached what Cam was like the Super Bowl run. Like I think that like if you look at just how he can run and how he can throw, like I think he's hit that level, and he's a younger version, hasn't taken as many hits.
Right.
But I will also say that Josh Allen, the Bills are a sprained ankle away from not being good. Like it really hinges on Josh Allen for the Bills. And
that was the only thing that I saw today that people questioned was their depth. They was like, if he's down, if they just tight end is down. Then...
Coach about to speak up.
Oh, Joe, you already know what time it is. Let me interject. Mitchell, Joe Montana Trubisky is
our man.
Get it right.
And there's something to that though, because I think he could step in, and I think he could go 500 with this team. I really do. Like this team is in good shape. It caters to his strengths a little bit. So I do like it when a team has two quarterbacks that can run the same offense. Mitchell's nowhere near what Allen is at this level, but he's got an arm. He can move around a little bit. Josh Allen doesn't run. He's just extremely athletic. So then it's not like they're running the power eye. So I think Mitchell's a good. Let's put it this way. I don't think he's the 35th best quarterback in the league. I think there's teams that have worse starters than Mitchell Trubisky right now. I believe that. And that doesn't mean they shouldn't. What I'm saying is, like, I don't think Trevor Lawrence this season's as good as Trubisky could have been, but I understand how that works in the NFL.
Jeff Harden knew. That's why he was like, oh. I'm sorry, but I had to interject with that one.
Oh, I can feel it coming.
Right? It's like you can feel it from a mile away. Like, yeah. He about to, and I had that clip in the chamber for months. I was like, once he got a good game.
I got it on my notes. I'm glad Maui beat me to it. I had it on my notes. Like, don't forget to bring up Coach's nephew. The golden child.
Serious, man.
Indeed.
You got a new one now, though. You wait till next year. You ain't seen.
Oh boy, yet. You're right. The Messiah of UNC quarterbacks.
You wait till Samuel Howell the fourth probably comes rolling in.
He is the best quarterback on this side of the Mason-Dixon line.
Actually, I'm not sure. I think you're on the other side that I am.
Right.
I don't think we're on the same side of the Mason.
Right, exactly. I'm just saying. That's just figuratively speaking. I guess because he's from North Carolina. But this is theory. But,
I'm serious. Yeah. See, Jeff, what I have to deal with? See what I have to deal with, Jeff?
And he's
such a nice guy, right? And he just constantly, boom. Hit you out of nowhere.
You never know where it's coming from, man.
I know, right? So I'm a wild card.
Seriously.
I think, and also my biggest question is probably like what you were saying, Maui, earlier about the Buffalo Bills. Can this team actually take the leap obviously they fell short in the AFC championship game, and even in a weird way, even how they finished that fourth quarter, I was kind of somewhat impressed. As far as even though it got a little chippy and kind of almost came into blows and into a fight, but to me that let me know they care, they give a damn, and what's next for this team. And like now, there's the heightened expectations where now, it's Super Bowl or bust for this team essentially.
Absolutely.
At this point now, they aren't like the cute story. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. No, this is actually like, look, we're feeling like this is the late 90s, early, the late 80s, early 90s, like, Four Falls of Buffalo, like, so, there's heightened expectations out there, and can this team actually live up to it? And like you said, they got to, like you said, you talked about Josh Allen. Now he has a bona fide number one receiver in Stephon Diggs. Now the biggest question mark I think circling around this team is the one issue I've been seeing lately, the Cole Beasley. I think him and everything that's going on with him, even though now I think he's like in a 5-day, like he's in protocol. And then I don't know if you guys remember, you probably remember, Jeff, remember him and Jerry Hughes got in like a little Twitter argument a few weeks ago. So you think those type of infighting might permeate throughout the season potentially, because we all know what Cole Beasley is not going to do. So, I mean,
I was looking when I was going through the depth charts and everything for this show, and I see Cole Beasley as a starter. I'm like, I just have like Maui brought it up, the depth. I'm like, you're telling me you're going to the Super Bowl and Cole Beasley is your third receiver, second receiver. Like, I automatically have questions. I mean, maybe I watch it different. I don't buy into it like everybody else, but
right.
To me, he's interchangeable. Yeah. So like your starting receiver shouldn't be interchangeable, not in today's NFL, to where you got three receivers on the field at all time, three wide receivers on the field at all time. Like, I don't know, that kind of struck me as weird. So I'm glad you brought that up. Because outside of just the off the field stuff, the on the field stuff, I don't know if I'm ride or die with Cole Beasley at this point. I don't think it's going to work out that way, but we'll see, man. And game one.
Yeah, because he's definitely not the Dallas one that I grew accustomed to.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hate it.
And it's just a cliche, route runner and all that. But I mean, he's just a really, really worse version of Stephon Diggs, and that's not always what you need. Is just a I don't know. He's just a lesser version of what they've got all over the field. Yeah. I think they made some. I think their wide receiver position needs tuned up a little bit. If you're going to tell me how great Allen's arm is and everything he can do, then just the wide receivers just don't match that. To me.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they are confident that they in the position that they're in? You know how we're a team. You understand what I'm saying? Is that a good question?
No.
Yeah, that's really what I think so too.
I think both you guys have touched on it. I think that there's a way more pressure than they wanted because of how good they were last year and how good they looked. Mm-hmm. This is, do I agree with you guys? I could totally see this team like, hitting the iceberg, so to speak. Right. And I don't think they're built to take a lot of injuries. I don't think they're built to take a lot of setbacks. I don't think with everything that's going on, like
and their physical team, they were. I remember them last. They were very. Trust me, they were very physical. Mm-hmm. It's a very physical team. So like, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I guess that was no pun intended when it says the iceberg.
Hey man, we on air. You been drinking?
No. But I thought that was really convenient. Like, I like that. It was like, they might hit an iceberg, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, some teams you could tell, like, man, we supposed to be here. Like, look at the Chiefs. They was always so close, and were running to us or Baltimore, and they just kept going. They made that quarterback change, And then they, you know what I mean, and they just kept rolling. Now they you terrified when you see them, like you're like, oh damn.
No, that's a good that's a good point, because that's how we're setting them up. Even when we talk about how I feel they're going to finish later, like we're all setting them up as to be that team. And then it's one of these, I do this with college football a lot when I'm doing my rankings. Like I'm like, oh, this team looks really, really good, and then I'll just say stuff out loud sometimes to test it. Like Iowa State wins the national championship, and I'm like, man, that don't sound right. You know what I mean? And this is a team that, and then, you've got the classic stuff too. They paid Allen, which we know how that affects teams. I never blame a quarterback for taking all the money. I never give all the credit to Tom Brady, because if you really look into what he did with these contracts, he got a lot of guaranteed money over the years that people forget to talk about. Anyway, that's a whole different thing, but he got a lot of credit for taking less money, even though it was just different money. But Allen took the money, so that does cost you a player or two. So you got to start making some choices. So, I don't think it's too early. Windows in the NFL shut quick. I don't think it's too early to put them on the block for sure.
Yeah, big time. So, fellas, moving on along. Breakout player in the AFC East. What you got, Maui? Who you got?
It's a stretch, but I'm gonna give it to Makai, man. I feel like when they drafted him, I don't think they really knew. I think they may somewhat knew, but I don't think they knew that they was gonna have somebody that's been doing so well. And I think one thing that they're doing that they didn't do with Sam Darnold is they're actually building around Wilson. And I think if he does that well this year, they're going to truly see how important he really is. You know what I mean? And I think he knows that. And if he do well, he's going to be a star. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's going to be a star. So I really, I know. And I know, B. So I think that, I always felt that way. If you can build a good line, you can have a good quarterback. But I just feel we know where the Jets were. We knew we had shows where, Gates and all the crazy stuff, you know what I mean? And it just, it's like today when I was going through stuff, it just seemed like it was kind of a breath of fresh air. Yeah, they only won 2 games last year, but it seemed like they're on the track. They're on the right track to move forward. You know what I mean?
Definitely, like you said, huge shout out to Mekhi Becton.
You like that, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Mekhi Becton.
Okay.
So he'll be going, hopefully, he'll be going from 15 South Oak Street to 2121 George Hallis Drive in Canton, Ohio, represent the HSHS from, black and gold to a gold jacket. Let's go.
Nice.
I've heard a lot of people say that he could, man. Seriously.
He definitely, man.
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I just felt like, like I'm literally watched a bunch of videos today, man, and his name, that was the first name they popped up. It was so strange, and I was like, damn.
And it's important. It's beyond the skill too. This is another thing all off season. I keep beating into the ground. It's about the teamwork. It's about the camaraderie. It's about does your quarterback have a guy that he's blurry, he can't see out of one eye, don't want to tell anybody, don't want to come out of the game, and can he lean on a guy and be like, hey man, we got to get through this next play. We got to get to the commercial break or whatever. Like these are the guys that you need in there. That's how you build these teams. Those pieces aren't interchangeable. Those offensive linemen are not as interchangeable as everybody else. That's one unit, and those guys are important to have that you can lean on in these huddles.
Yeah. But I got one for you just before you say anything. Pouncey retired, right? Pouncey retired. Yep. I bet you he'd be back by midseason. Some just told me that. I bet you he'd probably be back by midseason. Y'all go ahead though.
No, I can see that. One of the best to ever do it, by the way. Maybe he's going to be one of those in 5 years or 6 years now. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and you're going to be like, wow, that guy, you know what I mean? Like, we really missed that. Like, as he was doing it, we didn't realize, and that's exactly the type of player I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially like when you talk about offensive linemen, people rarely, it's just one of those kind of forms where people it's a forgotten type of role, but it's so essential. But, this is like everything. So, Jeff, your breakout player.
So I throw a few of them out here. I kind of for every team I looked at one and breakout player. I know it's tough, but I kind of thought like, well, wait a minute, just because I know him, you know, when 80% of people who are just watching on a casual Sunday hear about him, they're going to be like, man, that guy's really good. So I love, and this guy's not really a breakout. I just want to throw his name out there. Devin Singletary for the Bills. I love and I know for us, we're like, well, yeah, of course, but I don't know if he's, you know, I just don't know if he's a name brand yet. That's just a guy that I'm like, I think people might recognize this year and be like, wow, man, he just does a lot of stuff. Threw him out there. I think N'Keal Harry finally has an actual wide receiver season for the Patriots.
Right.
You know, everything we've talked about, I think one of those two quarterbacks, I think maybe he figures it out. Not going to be a breakout, but I think people go, wait a minute, now that's why they drafted him. And then another guy, this is a rookie. It probably, I don't know how soon it's going to come, but your boy, Michael Carter. I really think there's a lot of buzz around him. He does a lot of things and the modern NFL really likes. They got him at third string right now, but their running back room isn't loaded with Hall of Famers. You know, as of now, he's going to get a chance. And you know, once again, I think they're going to let this offense go regardless of the win total. So I think Michael Carter's a guy that can get they can put some stats up. And I remembered a few years ago with the Bengals when they had some of these young guys and they just kind of come out of nowhere. Like the team wasn't doing very good, but you're like, who's this? Who's that? You know what I mean? You're picking him up. You're picking him up week 10 in fantasy football, that kind of guy. But my guy, and you know, total bias here, but I really believe this. I don't know how much everybody remembers last year, but Jerome Baker for the Miami Dolphins at linebacker had a wonderful season, was a linchpin of this defense. Everything that we've seen last year and everything that we've seen going through the Super Bowl, the linebacker is one of the linebackers this year's tight end. Like the tight end for a few years was like, that's the most important position outside of quarterback. The linebacker now has so much responsibility, has to be able to do so much. Jerome Baker was fantastic. Flores knows how to use these guys. He's aggressive. So you're going to have sacks. You're going to have tackles for loss. You're going to, you know, maybe some picks, maybe some fumble recoveries. So I just think that by the end of this year, he's going to be up there and probably top 15 linebackers in the league by the end of the year.
Yeah. And we thought Jeff hated running backs. name two of them. So so my breakout player is gonna be Corey Davis. From the Jets. He's another one.
I just want to say I looked at that, but in my mind I knew him a little too well. But I don't think you're wrong, Coach.
Yeah, and that's another one. Even when you look at even in the preseason, even though people will say don't take stock in the preseason, but that's the only thing I have at this moment as far as current data. And you look at how him and Zach Wilson have connected on passes, and you just look at just a simple fact of, you know, he's another guy, you know, from Tennessee. He was another guy. I think it was on the verge of having a 1,000-yard season last year, and I definitely think he's going to get it this year.
He was really good last year. Yeah,
he was really good. And then now I think, coupled with now Zach Wilson, which I think Zach Wilson's going to be, he's going to be a monster in this league. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed on Saturday in his performance, even though like people say it's a preseason, but hey, you got it. Like, so I look at it from that standpoint, and y'all gonna stop making fun of the baby boy assassin. You put him in your little 6th grade math in your math textbook. Oh, you won't. About to be a superstar.
I'm sorry, that's the greatest meme of the summer.
Oh my God, it's legendary.
It just wins everything.
It won the internet for like weeks. Like, that was so funny.
And you're right, though. And it goes to my point. If you're gonna let them roll and let them run the full offense, your best wide receiver is going to be your that's where you're going to put your stats up. You're going to want to get him in the Pro Bowl. Corey Davis knows he's not going to the Super Bowl. So what's he want to do? He wants to get to the Pro Bowl. He wants to get that money. Yeah. So he's, no doubt he's going to have 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. You know what I mean? For a rookie quarterback. I like that.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be there. And like you said, and I think, and I really think I got a lot of faith in Mike LaFleur. and that offense. So I definitely think he gonna, like they gonna sling it. And like you said, they got a good offensive line. I talked about it, Maui, Mekhi Becton, then Elijah Vera Tuck on the other side, and then my guy Morgan Moses. He's there. And
they're gonna be a problem.
Fairly or not, but he's consistent. He has some issues. He might get a holding call here and there. Well, not here and there, but but he's solid, and he'll be definitely an added addition to the offensive line. So they're going to be a team. I think 2022 is going to be. I think that's going to be the year where they kind of, make some headway. But they're going to be an interesting team.
Yeah, the Jets just have some defensive problems right now. They need another good draft or two, but they're gonna push people.
Yeah,
and they're gonna It's probably some of them games that you most likely counted. They're going to end up winning. You know what I mean? They should lose that game, but they might just win it.
And it didn't help the other day they lost Carl Lawson. That was tough. That was a heartbreaking injury. So you looked at him, and then what was the guy from Alabama? I forgot what's his name. Oh, Quentin Williams. So having them both on the line, and I definitely thought they were going to be kind of some terrors on there. Even though I still think Quentin going to have a good year, but it would have been, I think, a whole lot better if Lawson was on the other side.
That was a huge loss.
Right.
Yeah, that was a huge loss, like for them to, for that situation. But yeah, they're gonna miss him a lot. But like I said, it's a young defense. And there'll be another one, and they'll be emerging soon. I think with Robert Salah taking over, he's gonna, and that's another thing too. I think he's a good man for the job. So I definitely think he'll be kind of the one that instilled the toughness, just like his, San Francisco days with that defense, and he's gonna definitely coach those guys up. So I definitely think they're a team for the future.
And another player that's going to have great stats this year is Mosley. Ought to have. He might lead the league in tackles. It doesn't even matter how good he is. There's going to be plenty. There's going to be plenty of tackles out there. He's going to be like the Blake Martinez of the Jets. I don't even call him tacklers. I just call him catchers. Like the guy's going to be running in front of him. He's going to catch him for a tackle. He might put up 130.
Yeah. Because that's because he could be their line of defense at this point. Yep. Yeah, man, his
stats will be off the chart this year. I mean that.
Yeah, it's gonna be somewhat of a long winter and with the Jets, but I think the sun will come up for them.
That's all right though if they have fun.
Yeah,
we saw the Bengals do it last year. The Bengals, before Burrow got hurt, even the Bengals weren't going to be that good, but they were gonna
They was competing though.
Yeah, exactly. I remember going through years with Miami to where they kept games close, but then they still lost them. So I'm like, wait a minute, that was boring, and they lost. I don't need them. I don't need to watch them lose 17-10 every week. Let it go.
Remember that
if you're gonna go, let it go.
That Browns and Bengals game, that little shootout they had.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Thursday night. Was that Thursday night game?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah. Yep, Baker and
Burrow.
Baker and Burrow, former Ohio State, former Buckeye. But
former Baker, man. I can't stand Baker, man.
I wish we were talking. Yeah, I got some hot takes on the Browns this year. I'll just put it this way: Browns are in a tough position this year. That's all I'm going to say. I know you guys have already talked about it, but Browns are in a tough position because when you got to decide whether to give Baker 160 mil or not, that's a big year. Josh Allen put all the pressure on the Browns front office. I'll just put it that way.
Oh yeah.
So I brought it back to Josh Allen. I brought it back to Josh Allen.
If you know Cleveland like I know Cleveland, they're going to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have no choice. Like we talked about
they're rocking a hard place, man.
Yeah, because
it is Cleveland.
Yep.
But this man, like we talked about it on the AFC preview, this team won their first playoff game in 20 plus years.
Ever.
Like the exorcism is over. Mm-hmm. They went into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. That never happens in a lifetime.
Oh my God, Chris! I don't remember that.
Beat the brakes off of them. If I remember,
I don't remember, Chris. I don't remember that.
That's why, I remember when JP was bringing up, I was like, dude, the exorcism is over. Like that right there lets me know like this is a different team. Like this never happens. Like this never happens. That's like a once in a million type of opportunity. And
they got a better roster than the Bills. Probably they got a better roster than the Bills. They got a better roster than the Dolphins. They got a better roster than New England by far. So it's all in one. Right. Yeah, it's all in one position. So I know this isn't a Central or a North. I call it the AFC Central. That's how old I am. It's an AFC Central.
It's 2001 already.
The Houston Oilers are back.
Yeah.
And they've had that team for 3 years. Damn Browns. They've had the better roster than everybody for about 3 years.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Right. And that's the thing, too, when you sit down and you think about it. They have no choice. Like this man has won a play. Like this team was 0-16 before he got there.
And I know this sounds. I know we'll get off this in a second. And I just want to preface this by saying, everybody, the lovely listeners and viewers out there, I don't want this to happen. But just like last year, I said about Dak, the best thing that could happen to Baker is go out like week 1. Because he's definitely getting paid. And I don't want that to happen, but I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
As soon as Dak got hurt last year, I'm like, well, he just got paid.
Yeah. But they got some enforcers though. They got Case Keenum and Cal Loletta from the University of Richmond.
There you go.
So,
Anyway, enough about
that. Jeff, don't egg him on, man. Come on, man.
I know.
Carolina.
Look out for them spiders, the fighting spiders.
Yeah, the fighting Todd McShays.
Todd McShay looks like a mascot. Like he was just born to be a mascot.
Yeah, man. Todd McShay is a former quarterback from the University of Richmond. Yes, indeed.
I like Todd McShay, man, but he started the last couple of years. He started falling for that shock jock stuff, and now his takes are like you can't trust him like you used to. He used to trust that guy, but ever since they let him get time on like college football sidelines and stuff, and he wants to be friends with the coaches and get in there. Now it's like this year it'd be Bryce Young. Like, I've never seen talent like this. Best arm I've ever seen in the history of football. Like like he used to watch the game, but anyway, he ain't no Orlovsky. Yeah. That dude, Orlovsky's off the chain. Like that, somebody needs to reel that man in. I don't even know what he's talking about anymore.
He needs to be on first team.
Yeah, he is. He wants to.
He might be.
He might be. He might be. I think that's exactly where he's heading. Hey, you go get the money. Once again, just like quarterbacks, you take it all they'll give you, but I can't listen to you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Yeah, but definitely a huge shout out to Todd McShay. But he falls in the line.
Go reeling it back. Right back.
Fighting spiders.
Cal Loletta. Wow, he made an appearance on Couch Coach Live. You know what? That's he's made it.
I think we can get him on the show. Let's get him on the show.
Hey, potentially.
I absolutely think we get him on the show.
Might. Hey. I throw it out there. We'll just throw some retweets his way. And,
let's do this. Let's see. That's our goal. That's my goal this year.
Cal Loletta or Todd McShay. Which one?
I was thinking Kyle.
We can get Kyle.
Hey, we can work for Todd. I don't know. I've said a lot of bad stuff about Todd, though. I don't know. Not like personal stuff, though. Not like personal stuff.
Yeah. Just Todd is interesting. Yeah, because to me, I always looked at him at once upon a time was like the anti Mel Kiper, and now he's becoming like the son of Mel Kiper.
He's the same thing.
Right, and let's put out 18 mock drafts. Let's put out 18 mock drafts,
right?
And then argue with yourself. I don't even know.
And I'm like, what?
What are you talking about, Todd? Come on, Todd.
Right, and like he's becoming the son of Mel Kiper Jr. And it's like,
Yep.
And then like you said, and then everybody's always the greatest something. That's how Mel is. Mel be the same thing. He'll say Jimmy Clausen is the next best.
Yeah. Oh no. I lost all credibility for all of them. I remember when Brady Quinn was coming out in the draft. Everybody's like, can't miss. Anybody doesn't draft this kid, huge mistake. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I just remember yelling at the radio, like, what are you guys talking about? This guy's terrible. Like he can't, he's not accurate, blah, blah. It's the NFL, and like, he can't hit a barn, broadside of a barn. I'm like, imagine that. Jeff from Ohio saw that.
Yeah. So anyway. Guess what, Jeff? Before we get back, guess what? Me and Brady Quinn are born on the exact same day.
Get out.
Yes.
He was born right up the road here in Columbus,
Ohio. Yeah. We're born the same day.
What?
Yeah, October 27th, 1984. Yep.
That's crazy.
I bet you're still more accurate. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't care if it's throwing away like paper, wrappers in the office. I bet Brady Quinn still gets intercepted when he.
Yeah,
and he wears way too much makeup. What's going on with Brady Quinn and his makeup? Anyway.
But shout out to Brady Quinn, man.
Yeah.
Birthday twin, salute.
He just always looks like he always looks like he's in a coffin. I'm just saying.
He do.
He said that he's you more accurate than him, and then he said he wears entirely too much makeup.
He does wear a lot of makeup. Yeah,
it's so it's terrible.
It's weird. It's not. It's like how can you really? It's like it's like almost like pageant like. I know it sounds weird, like
pageant like. That's exactly what it is. I was going to say mortician like, but pageant like is that's a kinder way to put it.
Yeah.
But hey, Brady, you want to come on? Hey, Brady, you're welcome to come on the show.
Oh yeah, man. I always shout him out on my birthday and stuff. So
we'll talk defensive.
Happy birthday to us.
Since you threw to the defensive back so much, we'll talk defensive backs with Brady Quinn. I'm sorry, man. I just got a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, big time.
I just can't stand these quarterbacks when they're telling you how great they are, and you're like, I don't know. I watched the game. Like, I don't think so.
Right.
I never thought.
That's weird. We talk about that. Like especially me and my father, we talk about that all the time. Mm-hmm. And he'll be watching, and he'll be like, man, they just be talking about these quarterbacks and making them sound like they're the best thing in the world. They sell them to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I think that's what they do, like as far as the hype machine, and kind of just build up everything, so it gets the real people in. Yeah, and that's their job. We have a generational talent.
Yeah.
They throw it out all the time.
Well, it's like this year, like Trevor Lawrence. What's been a generation talent? I'm like, I don't know. Justin Fields was drafted the same class, and so was Lance. Like, are we sure that
he's generational?
We sure that it's generational? Because generation's like 20 years. Are we sure?
Right.
Anyway, like Patrick Mahomes was like born like 8 years before Trevor Lawrence.
Exactly.
Are we sure that Lawrence is generational talent? Anyway,
exactly. We'll find out though.
Maybe people don't know how long a generation is. I think maybe that's the problem.
That too, because I think we look at that, and I think it's kind of like skewed too. I think when people look at generation, it's almost looking like decade, like because now they're comparing him to Andrew Luck. But I'm like, Andrew Luck came out
only
9 years
they
ago.
Compare him to. That's the only they constantly compare him to Andrew Luck, and I'm like,
which is 9 years versus
that's
they're almost. I wouldn't say the same age, but they would be in the same not tier, but era. I put an era. ERA.
I thought that's what Gruden was trying to do. I know we off subject, but when Gruden took the job back at the Raiders, I remember him. He used to have that quarter. I think was it a quarterback show on ESPN or something like that.
Yeah. Oh God.
And that's the first time I saw Trey, and he threw the ball right, and the way he effortless. It was like they was like, damn, like ain't nobody knew had an arm like that.
Yeah.
And I swear, when he took that job, I thought that's what he was like. Oh yeah, I'm trying to get this kid. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
I ain't gonna
lie to you. No, he never had. He never did.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to have AD there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I really believe he was trying to set himself up to get that young man. But hey, it is what it is.
That's why he got Marcus Mariota. He loves some Marcus Mariota. You remember that? Spider white banana. But yeah, shout out to his brother, man. Shout out to Jay. But I digress.
God. Hey,
right. Yeah.
To tell Jay that Virginia actually made it legal medically anyway.
Oh man. Hey man, shout out to Jay Gruden.
Collard greens.
No way yet these days, but yeah, man, definitely keep doing this thing.
He probably in Colorado having a good old time playing a harmonica at some
I wonder
pub.
what he is though. In
You said harmonica. him and Spurrier probably comparing notes.
Oh,
like,
right.
Man,
like how many hours a week did you work? He's like 20.
But yeah, shout out to Gruden. But yeah, so fellas, the dark horse team in the AFC East. What you got, Maui?
Oh man. I didn't pick one because I got everything so close. But honestly, from talking to this show, I'm going to say the Dolphins.
Okay.
It's going to be, a lot of it's going to be based on how Tua's going to do. But I think they got everything else. The defense is really, really good. Corners. Hey, I can't. I feel like they probably 1 or 2 steps to be where the Bills is, to be honest with you. If Tua go out there and do what he do,
I like that.
That's what it is. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pick them.
Okay, cool. What you got, Jeff?
So I kind of I looked at it a little different. I think people are expecting the Dolphins to be a playoff contender, or right around that 6 to 7 seed. So, and I said a lot of bad stuff, but I actually went with New England based on I don't think New England's going to be very good. But everything we've talked about, if Cam wants to play or if Mac Jones is a real deal, I think they could be really good and, win 10 or 11 games. So it's weird to say, but I got New England as a dark horse based on how I think they'll do this year. Jets just aren't at that level yet. Miami, anything less than 10 wins is a complete failure. And we talked about the Bills, anything less than the Super Bowl. I think it's fair to call it a failure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you with the Patriots. I think they're an interesting team as well. And it's funny, like this isn't, the early 2000s, 20 teens New England Patriots who dominated this division, and now they are a dark horse. Which can we even say that the Patriots have been a dark horse since 2001? Like honestly,
it's been a minute.
Like it's a lot has changed. Like they was what like we talked about the AFC Central. Which
I can remember. I'm old enough. I remember when the Dolphins ran this show for 12 to 13 years. The Patriots were horrible. It's still I still can't wrap my brain around what's happened in the last 21 years.
And then Peyton came.
Nobody
And then Peyton came.
Nobody.
And like you said, I look at them, and then what's crazy about this the Patriots schedule? Guess what their bad week is? Like the second week in December.
Oh my!
Bro, their bye week is in week 14. I was like, what in the hell? Like,
damn, I didn't see that.
If they can survive that stretch and be over 500, they got a really interesting final 4 games. So I'm thinking if they like 7-6, 6-7, because they got at Indy. We don't know what Indy's going to be at this point. Buffalo, Jacksonville, and then they go to Miami in January. Like that's unprecedented. Like normally the Patriots come to Miami in September. So now it won't be as humid. It might be a solid 7-degree, 1 o'clock kickoff potentially. So you might get caught in a monsoon, but it ain't gonna be 100 degrees.
To me, when I looked at the Patriots schedule, I see 7 games automatically that they should be favored in. So then they got to figure out a way to win like 3 or 4 more. But they don't have a horrible schedule. They have tough teams that they're just going to take a loss, but then they've got teams that they should beat. So I looked at it and I saw 7 automatically.
Right.
So if they can figure out a way to, they're going to upset some, they're going to flip something in the AFC East. So you're going to give them an extra one there. So they're up to 8. Then they just. Who knows, what's happening with injuries and everything. So, but it could go the same. We all know injuries.
Right.
We all say this, and tomorrow somebody's going to strain a calf, and we're going to be like, oh, well, everything we said was wrong.
My pick was Miami, but on paper, I'm really agreeing with y'all. You know what I mean? But as we were talking, I got to hear more about the Dolphins. Even though I know the Dolphins almost made it to the playoffs, I still kind of looked at them like they're, you know what I mean? I think this might be that. That's why, just hearing how how we were talking about them earlier, but definitely, man, the Pats. Like when I looked at the schedule, I was like, I mean, the next thing we'll we'll put their records what we think their records would be.
Yeah.
Right. And then that'll tie in exactly even the dark horse thing, because I'm with exactly what y'all was saying. Like seriously.
And it's just weird. It's weird to say that the New England Patriots is a dark horse in a division that they've dominated for almost 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It just finds it funny. It's like, you think about it, it's just like, they ran through this division. There's, there's formidable foes now. There's no Chad Pennington and the New York Jets. He actually won it with y'all, right? Chad Pennington won. Yeah, he won it with y'all, right?
I believe that was
it Christmas Eve in the rain
against Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Yep. Brett Favre was playing for the Jets. A great night. Great night.
Do you think that maybe it's just time for the Pats to kind of change their formula? Ooh, sorry, fellas.
Yeah,
I think that I'll stick with this, even though I've said a lot of nice things about them, because I think this year's team is all right. But I also think this year's team reminds me of the dream team Philadelphia Eagles team, to where like there was the payroll was better than the team on the field, and this is what it kind of feels like. I've said for years, in 2 or 3 years, the Patriots are going to have one of the worst rosters in football, and I think Belichick will be gone, and there'll be complete rebuild mode. Who knows?
And I think what I meant by that is you really look at all the teams that's successful, because right now, like, they really got some quarterback questions. When you go and see what Tampa Bay is doing, it's like they're a more modern team. You know what I mean? Even though they got a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Patriots are going to play a ton of 12 personnel this year and try to grind games out and stuff. And I'm not saying that might get you to the playoffs, but no, you're totally right. I think that I think they're on that tipping point, and I think the next coach, it'll just blow everything up.
Yeah. And it might be a situation where I don't think it might not be a drop off if you keep McDaniels, which I think, in theory, I think that's why he's still there.
You're waiting for that job.
Yeah, because that Indianapolis job, I mean, he was literally get ready to announce that he was the head coach of Indianapolis Colts and did a Bill Belichick and just, sorry, Jets fans, but
you think he brings Tebow back?
He gonna bring back Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall.
Jay Cutler come back as long as he got the brandy and the whiskey.
Shoot.
And the smokes.
Shoot.
Right.
He bring back the old school quarterback where like Len Dawson was smoking on the sidelines of the Super Bowl.
Yo, that's wild. Like, could you imagine doing that now? Like, people would like.
Mark Sanchez ate a hot dog and they wanted to throw him out of the league.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like
smoking on a heater for 2 quarters. Nobody even cares.
Exactly. Yo, that's wild. But
the game's changed. The game has changed.
Oh, big time. Like, right. So, fellas, to round out our AFC East preview, our record prediction. So we're gonna predict what we got here, and so I'm gonna go with you first, Mallory. What you got?
All right, I got the Bills 14-3. I got the Pats 10-7. I got the Dolphins 9-8, and I got the Jets 8-9.
Woo!
Yeah. I feel like some of them games, like you said, I think the Jets they was, they only won 2 games last year, so I feel like they're a different team. You know what I mean? And I feel like you don't know really what you're getting. You know what I mean? So
true.
I feel like they can get them some games, and it's going to show. It's the same thing the Browns did. It's going to show that they're going in the right direction. And like you said, this is a really dangerous division. Like, it really, really is. And then the Dolphins, they could easily be where the Pats is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even though I got the Pats 10-7, you know what I mean? Like he said, it's what about 6 or 7 games they really should win. You know what I mean? And it'd be some, that's the way I looked at it. But you could say the same thing with the Dolphins. Like it's 9-8, so they can be 10-7, and maybe 11-6.
Big time, big time. Jeff, what you got?
So I kind of did just what Maui talked about in the second part of it. I got the Bills at 13-4, just because I originally had 14 wins, and I'm like, man, I just can't. That's a lot of wins. Like,
yeah, I said the same.
This 17 game season's weird. So I went back and I went through their schedule. Miami, I got a 10-7, but I think they're battling for that 6 seed. New England, I put at 8-9, so I'm kind of in step with Maui on one of them games. Now I got the Jets at 3-13, but I do believe that they'll look fine. But when I looked at the schedule, I think they may lose a bunch of games by 6 points and I don't really just because I'm assuming they're just not going to care. And I think that at 3-13, if their offense looks good and they can pick up a nice draft pick, they would consider that a successful season. So I've got the Bills running away with it, and I've got Miami fighting for the 7th playoff spot.
Okay. All right. So I got the Jets, just like the Washington football team, at 12-5. I got the Miami.
Let's rewind. Hold on. What did you just say?
Pardon me? Did I tip off my picks? Did I tip off next week's episode?
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
And it's funny, Jeff. So every time we've been doing the record predictions, all that, and I did preface kind of teased my simulation. I was like, I did a simulation. Great. But I also, some contributing things to it as everything has changed. And the Green Bay. Oh, yeah,
there's been some injuries, some trades. Yeah,
and Green Bay, because we thought at the time Green Bay was going to. Because when Las Vegas was involved with the whole thing with Aaron Rodgers retiring, I took that serious. So
I did too. I
took that very.
I think we both thought Watson was going somewhere, but that's what makes it so fun. I was going to go back and I was like, let's change it. I was like, nah, it's more fun if we just
let it. Right. We let it rip.
But when I really look at it, I'm like, no, this could happen and that can happen.
No, it can happen. Yes.
We got to stick to it, because if we change it, then we'll regret it forever.
Right. We'll regret it forever. And then we'll look smart if, if the Washington football team is 12-5, I'll look like a genius.
Exactly.
With Conor McGregor as your quarterback, I'm sorry.
All right, y'all say we got a wide.
I passed the ball.
We got a wise 38-year-old Harvard quarterback leading us. So.
Did you know Floyd couldn't read? Do it, Chris. Do it, Coach.
Why do you carry a book bag? You can't read. Conor McGregor said, "Why do you carry a book bag? You can't read." Yo, that's gonna live in my mind rent free forever. Forever. And then I got the Dolphins at 10-7, so they'll get a coveted space or playoff berth. The New England Patriots 8-9. The New York Jets at 6-11. I think they're gonna have some surprising wins. But they're a year away.
If all this happens, that they would be the most competitive division in football, I think, except for the NFC West. Obviously, is probably I shouldn't say obviously it's the best, but
the best at this.
Yeah, but still, that the AFC East would be really good. Or we're talking about all these quarterbacks that are 23 years old. It might be terrible. It could honestly be terrible. We have no idea. If the NFC East is good, they play all these teams. They could ruin everything for the AFC. I mean, nobody has any idea at this point.
Yeah.
You know what's bad? The more we talk, I'm losing faith in the Bills.
Really?
The more I'm no lie. Like I'm like, you know what? They gonna beat them. They gonna. I just got the weirdest feelings.
They were really good.
I know, man. I remember last year. Like I ended up liking them, man. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, watch, they giving them too much.
This is that year though when that happens though. This
does happen. Yeah, because it can go, and that's the thing too. That's I think what makes it so compelling, because it can go either way. Where, like you said, because normally 9 times out of 10. we think of a burgeoning team like the Bills who overachieve, it's only going to get better versus maybe it was their height of their dominance. And then I look at Cleveland as a threat. Now, I think what they did last year, is propels them going forward. And then, other teams, I wouldn't say catch up with the Bills, but I mean, there's a lot of like 1As in the AFC that could compete with Kansas City. Not saying that they can beat them, but it's Kansas City's in one tier, and then there's other people that's lagging behind. But you just look at it from that standpoint of, man, Cleveland, Buffalo, they got a legitimate shot. So,
you think Odell gonna mess that up?
But I don't think so.
Here's what I think about Odell real quick is that I think that he'll realize, man, that injury set me back. This team is really good. I might be willing to just catch 50 balls this year and just chill out and maybe maybe go to the playoffs, get a Super Bowl or whatever, rather than normal. Now, last year I said best thing that happened to Cleveland was Odell wasn't playing. Not that he got hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But this year I think Odell might be like, I'm gonna ride this out. This out. We saw Randy Moss do it in 07 with the Patriots. Right. Like, everybody forgets. Everybody forgets Randy Moss was not the greatest teammate, especially in Oakland and all that. But when he realized, what was going on, like he focused and it got him into the Hall of Fame and it almost got him a perfect season and all that stuff. And I think Odell might be at that point.
Yeah, and I hope he is. But Randy Moss had braids. He didn't have blonde hair. And he didn't dance in the
I shouldn't have. I don't want to compare the two. That's just
no. I'm not trying to be funny. I just think Randy Moss still had that gridiron thing in him.
You know what?
Where
You're
was
right.
really,
that's fair.
Because I think that's the problem with Odell. I don't think he wants to be. I think he tried to do that. He cut his hair. He tried to do that, but I don't think that's him. I think his edge is. I think he's gonna end up being on the West Coast somewhere. I think that's where he wants to go anyway. I think he wants to go out west.
But he's with his bestie.
Yeah, but that's the issue. That's the issue. That's a big issue where Baker can't please you because you have this this thing about you, and he gets it. It's very important for Odell to be Odell for the league.
Yep.
But this dude over here is my right hand, and I know I can. As soon as I throw the ball, he gonna catch. He been here. He understands what Cleveland is, what the Browns is. He understands all that. And I think they should take Odell and send him just like they did who's your homeboy that used to play for the Jaguars? What did you say?
The
Ramsey?
The SAS guy.
Yeah, they need to take him and go ahead and send him out there to LA or Vegas or San Francisco. Send him to the West Coast where he wants to be at and get something for him.
Yep.
Yeah, he can't go to the Rams because the Rams ain't got no draft picks.
No.
Right.
He would be the exact worst thing for the Rams too. He's just a certain type of receiver, and I just don't think it helps Baker at all. But anyway, this ain't a show about the Browns.
Yeah,
we've talked way too much about the Browns.
Yeah, I know.
I said the same thing.
More than we did in NFC and AFC North.
Right.
So yeah, man. So yeah.
Message.
Shout out to Jarvis, bless him. That's my final Cleveland. That's my final Cleveland thing. But yeah, I'm really high on this team. My bad, but it's how I roll. So let's put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live, man. So let's go around the horn, social media, and then just plug any projects coming up. I'm gonna go with you first, Maui. What you got?
Oh man, I'm here. Me and Jeff is talking about some things, so hopefully we can do that. That's one of my passions too, Jeff. Deshaun Morgan Facebook, DT Morgan 78 Instagram.
Yeah.
Father, what you got?
Oh, absolutely, man. Things are heating up. Football season's coming up. First of all, I want to thank both of you guys for having me on. This is the best show. I love coming on. Couch Coach Live is the the anchor, of the Off the Ball Network. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, Jeff Needs Sports is my podcast. You can find it anywhere that they have podcasts. I will have college playoff rankings coming up. I'll have NFL power rankings coming up. Buckeye fans, I will be doing the Buckeye Blitz every week after the games and preseason stuff. Plus, I'll be doing just other NFL, college football stuff. So, you can find out all there. Find me on Twitter at JHunt006. I love interacting with people. I love talking. I love debating and all these things. And check out offtheballnetwork.com for everything else that all the team was doing. It's things are really hopping right now. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, man, another great show, fellas. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. The podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we there. Projects down the line. Obviously, we'll be bringing up some Off the Ball Network football centric shows. We do Overreaction Monday, September the 13th. September 13th. See you Sunday. It looks like September 11th-ish, potentially, or maybe September the 4th. I think that might be that we'll kind of get that all together. And then obviously the Washington Football Guys podcast. I guess the only football team-centric show that we have on Off the Ball Network. One of probably many going forward. Me and my guy RC, which he's getting ready to come up and he's getting ready to do a show on Football and Chill podcast. That's going to be a really interesting one. So yeah, Cruz.
I'm getting ready. Me and Aaron B is getting ready to do the Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah, Hard Knocks. 15 minutes.
Check that. If you like Hard Knocks, go check that out. You can find it on Tacos and Touchdowns. You can find it on Jeff Needs Sports, or you can watch it live here with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And then watch the Football Guys podcast every Friday night at 8:00. And then we'll be doing Washington football game post-game shows after each game. Ooh. So yeah, man. So it's gonna be fun. I'm telling you, having me and Cruz, I'm telling you, we're gonna give you some entertaining Washington football content. Just wait on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Jeff, stop egging him on.
Hey,
that's my man. That's my man.
Yeah. It's gonna be I
love those guys. Those guys are wild, man.
Yeah, and definitely Rob. I'm telling you, Rob brings that energy every week, and it's unmatched.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick going to the Hall of Fame. That's all I need to say. Fitzpatrick going to the Hall of Fame.
As a contributor,
I
gotta defend my boy on that one.
Yeah, as a contributor,
I'll be throwing my boy out to the wolves when y'all say that with no contact.
But Eli ain't. So anyway, I'm just saying. That's our dude. I love the guy. I love the guy.
That's great.
Yo, I know.
I may be saying it in a context, but I'm just repeating what he said. I'm not judging.
True.
I don't judge.
Did Rob say that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we just be. That's really the reason why there's a Cruz Island.
Cruz Island's wild. You'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see here in a few minutes.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely huge shout out. Definitely appreciate your father for coming through once again. It's been a minute. You on the Gardner Mitchell or Nah podcast that we did early in the year. You also can check that out on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. When Mo was like, is it Jaguars convincing Gardner Mitchell gonna be the starting quarterback?
What he say?
I was weak. Yo, we looked at him like, what? Because we were talking about it was just a regular show. And then we were talking about Gardner Minshew and Jacksonville Jaguars. And Mo was like, are we convinced that will he be the starting quarterback in 2021? We was like, Gardner Minshew or no? Then that was the title of the podcast. And just to give context, when the last time Jeff was on the pod, it was on Gardner Minshew or no. Check that out on Apple and Spotify. Anywhere you get your podcast if you want a good laugh. Yeah, we were tripping that night. That was a crazy night. I remember that. But yep. So yeah, once again, man, this has been this week's Couch Coach Live. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and everybody chiming in and interacting with the show. Dev huge shout out. Appreciate your father and Maui. Appreciate it. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. That has been this week's Couch Coach Live.
You're welcome.
Fins up.
Yeah.